We do have a guest tonight joining us by phone to help answer some questions. That's attorney Jonathan Friedlander from the Friedlander Law Firm. Welcome, Jonathan, to the program tonight. We appreciate your time.
Hey, Andrea. Hey, Bill. How are y'all tonight?
We're doing great.
Hey, Jonathan. Hey, buddy. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Jonathan, you do you practice in different areas of the law. Tell us a little bit about, because I know you do a lot of criminal work too. So tell us what areas of the law that you focus on and how the closures have impacted your practice.
I do a good bit of criminal. I do some civil. I do some domestic relations or family law, a little bit of real estate, and a little bit of just general litigation, contracts, wills, things like that.
Mm-hmm. So a little bit of everything. So how have the closures, we heard from Bill, doesn't sound like it's quite impacted him. Of course, he does a lot more civil work. So how has it impacted your practice, Jonathan?
Right. Last week I'd had my first virtual hearing in a civil case. It was in Baldwin County. And then 2 days later, I actually did have to go to court for the first time in a month. Which was interesting. One of the judges in Mobile set a docket for basically a bunch of criminal cases where people were in jail but were perhaps in a position to get out. So we had some lawyers go over there, and we had people video conference in from the jail, and it actually ended up working out pretty well.
Right. Do you have concerns with I don't know, with some of your clients that, that they're still at the jail, and we know that there have been some positive cases there and some employees there, and you hear horror stories with these larger correctional facilities in the country, Rikers Island and Chicago. It sounds awful. Do you have concerns about maybe some of the people you represent who are, currently at the jail and they're trying to get out? Maybe they have a pre-existing medical condition and they're trying to make that argument that they need to be out.
I do, and that is certainly something that got brought up during the sentencing hearing that I had last week, and I mean, it's a concern for a lot of people. And I've had a couple of other clients who were in for nonviolent crimes that actually had been let out, a little bit early. But then I've had another couple of clients who have not had as much success getting them out based on that, but there may not have been a legal way to get them out anyway. But I've been trying to get people out, and just seeing if we can make it work, because it's certainly on the minds of not just us, but certainly the people that are actually in there.
Mm-hmm. Right, and Andrea, if I may, in talking to a lot of the judges during this time, they very much have all of this on their mind as well. They
do, and
they certainly don't want to put people in harm's way, but I mean, sometimes you have no choice. But the judges have been very good through this whole process on the civil and what I hear on the criminal side.
They have, and I just saw last week, Judge Young-Peter issued an order, and we don't know if the Supreme Court is going to extend the court shutdown past April 30th or not, but I imagine it's going to proceed, in each circuit, however the judges decide that it's going to proceed, even if the Supreme Court does not extend the closure. And I know Judge Young-Peter, even in criminal cases for non-jury matters, issued guidelines for having virtual hearings in that. So you could even be looking at misdemeanor trials for in criminal cases, or anything that can be preliminary hearings, anything that could be done non-jury. Could be done via virtual hearing, and same with civil cases and family law cases and everything. But would like to emphasize to people that anything, and like you said earlier, anything that doesn't require a hearing is still pretty much going forward as it usually does. Discovery and any say uncontested divorce, you can still get that done at the same kind of time frame as usual.
Mm-hmm. Right. You mentioned that you practice, you represent people in divorce cases, and we were talking ahead of the show. I was just asking, 'cause, I mean, this is taking a toll on people's mental health, and we're all cooped up together. It's stressing families, and when you have the financial stress adding to that, and you said you actually have not seen an increase with your practice in the number of filings, but you you think that that may play out?
It could. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword there. People may be cooped up and getting tired of each other, but it's certainly a lot harder for people to go around and well, run around on their spouses, basically, for lack of a better way of putting it.
Right.
So, you know, like I said, that cuts both ways, but we'll see how it plays out. It's really always hard to tell how big events are going to impact the law practice. I imagine that you know, we might be, unfortunately, seeing an uptick in bankruptcy filings once this is over.
Right. Yes, you're going to see a lot of that, and you know, and again, it's kind of funny to talk about the boom that's going to be with you know, divorce lawyers and things of that nature, but certainly the bankruptcy lawyers are going to see. Unfortunately, a huge uptick in business. I've got a lot of friends, clients, and everything that you know, are unfortunately staring at that because, you know, some businesses are just completely shut down, and then ironically, some are thriving right now. It just depends on what industry that you're in, but everyone obviously is feeling this to some degree.
Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you calling in and answering some questions for us tonight. We do appreciate that. If you at home have any more questions for Attorney Jonathan Friedlander, you can reach him at 251-432-5531, or you can always go online to friedlanderlawfirm.com. Again, Jonathan, thank you so much for your time. And if you...
Thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah, if you...
Thanks so much for having me. We'll get together and do one of these for real whenever this clears up.
Hopefully soon.
Real soon.
Yes. And if you missed a question or want more information, you can always go to erlawfirm.com or visit lawcall.com/Mobile to watch more clips of this show. We will be right back after this break. Stay with us.